Retirement is dying, not as a concept, as a reality. The idea that you work for 40 years, retire at 65, and live comfortably on a pension and Social Security was a brief anomaly in human history. It lasted roughly 40 years from the 1970s to the 2010s. It is over, and it is not coming back. People are not retiring. They are working into their 70s, some into their 80s. Not because they love their jobs, because they have no choice. The retirement system that was promised to millions of workers is collapsing. Social Security is running out of money. Pensions have been eliminated or gutted. 401(k)s are inadequate. Savings are wiped out by inflation. Healthcare costs in old age are catastrophic, and the jobs that are left for older workers are low-wage service jobs with no benefits. The result, an entire generation that thought they would retire is instead stocking shelves at Walmart, driving for Uber, or working part-time at Home Depot until they physically cannot continue. This is not an accident. This is a policy choice. And it is accelerating. Let me start with the numbers. The labor force participation rate for workers aged 65 and older has been rising for 30 years. In 1990, about 12% of people 65 and older were working. In 2000, it was 13%. In 2010, it was 17%. In 2020, it was 20%. And in 2024, it is approaching 22%. That is nearly 1 in 4 people over 65 still working. This is not because they want to keep working. Surveys show that most older workers would prefer to retire. They are working because they cannot afford to stop, and the trend is accelerating. Workers aged 70 to 74 are the fastest growing segment of the labor force. The number of workers 75 and older is also growing rapidly. These are people who, in previous generations, would have been retired for 10 or 15 years. Now they are still working. Why? Because the retirement system is broken. Let me explain how retirement was supposed to work. The post-World War II social contract in the United States and much of the developed world was based on a three-legged stool. Leg 1, Social Security, a government pension funded by payroll taxes. Leg 2, employer pensions, defined benefit pensions that guaranteed a fixed income in retirement. Leg 3, personal savings, money you save throughout your working life. Together, these three sources of income were supposed to provide financial security in old age. The system worked for baby boomers. Most boomers had access to employer pensions. Social Security provided a baseline income, and housing prices appreciated dramatically. So many boomers could sell their homes in retirement and downsize. For boomers, retirement was achievable. But for Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z, the three-legged stool has collapsed. Boomers got pensions, houses, and Social Security. We got student debt, gig jobs, and learned to code. Let me go through each leg. First, Social Security. Social Security was created in 1935. It was designed to provide a safety net for the elderly poor. Over time, it became the primary source of retirement income for most Americans. Social Security is funded by payroll taxes. Workers and employers each pay 6.2% of wages into the Social Security Trust Fund. The trust fund pays benefits to current retirees. This is a pay-as-you-go system. Current workers fund current retirees. The system worked when there were many workers for each retiree. In 1950, there were 16 workers per retiree. In 1970, there were 5 workers per retiree. Today, there are fewer than 3 workers per retiree. By 2035, there will be 2.3 workers per retiree. This is unsustainable. The Social Security Trust Fund is projected to be depleted by 2033. Once the trust fund is depleted, Social Security will only be able to pay about 77% of promised benefits. That is a 23% cut, and that assumes no further changes. If Congress does nothing, Social Security benefits will be automatically cut in 2033. This will push millions of retirees into poverty, and it will force many who are on the edge to keep working. Some people say, but Congress will fix it. They will raise taxes or raise the retirement age. Maybe. But fixing Social Security requires either raising payroll taxes significantly, which is politically toxic, or raising the retirement age significantly, which is also politically toxic. The most likely outcome is a combination of small tax increases, small benefit cuts, and raising the retirement age. But none of these fixes will restore Social Security to what it was. The demographics are against it. There are not enough workers to support the number of retirees. And life expectancy, while increasing, is not increasing fast enough to offset the demographic imbalance. Social Security will continue to exist, but it will provide less, and the retirement age will keep rising. The full retirement age is already 67 for anyone born after 1960. It will likely be raised to 68, then 69, then 70 over the next 2 decades. So the first leg of the stool, Social Security, is crumbling. Second leg, employer pensions. Defined benefit pensions used to be common. A defined benefit pension guarantees a fixed income for life based on your salary and years of service. Companies funded these pensions and bore the investment risk. If the pension fund did poorly, the company had to make up the difference. This was great for workers, but expensive for companies, so companies eliminated pensions. In 1980, 38% of private sector workers had a defined benefit pension. By 2000, it was 20%. By 2020, it was less than 12%. Today, defined benefit pensions are almost extinct in the private sector. They survive mainly in government jobs. If you work for a state or local government, you might have a pension. But even public pensions are underfunded. Many state and local pension funds are in crisis. Illinois, New Jersey, Kentucky, Connecticut. These states have pension funds that are massively underfunded. Some are only 50 or 60% funded. meaning they do not have enough money to pay promised benefits. These pensions will be cut. Public sector workers who thought they had a secure pension will find that their benefits are reduced. So the second leg of the stool, employer pensions, is gone for most workers, and even for those who have them, the pensions are at risk. What replaced pensions? The 401 ICA. The 401 was created in 1978 as a tax-advantaged savings account. It was supposed to be a supplement to pensions. But companies decided to use 401 as a replacement for pensions. The difference with a 401, you bear the investment risk. If the stock market does poorly, your 401 loses value. The company has no obligation to make up the difference. And many companies do not contribute much to 401s. Some match a small percentage of your contributions. Some contribute nothing. So workers are expected to save for retirement themselves. How much should you save? Financial advisors say you need to save 15 to 20% of your income throughout your working life to have a comfortable retirement. How many people do that? Almost none. Most Americans are not saving anywhere near 15%. Many are saving nothing. Why? Because wages have stagnated. After paying for housing, healthcare, student loans, and childcare, there is nothing left to save. And even if you do save, 41s are volatile. If you retire during a market crash like 2008 or 2020, your 41s could be worth half of what it was a year earlier. This is called sequence of returns risk. If you are unlucky and the market crashes when you retire, you are screwed. You cannot wait for the market to recover because you need the money now, so you sell at a loss, and your retirement income is permanently reduced. The 401 system has failed. Most people do not save enough, and even those who do save are vulnerable to market crashes. The second leg of the stool, employer retirement plans, is now a wobbly 41 and most people cannot afford to fund. Third leg, personal savings. Americans do not have savings. The median retirement savings for Americans aged 55 to 64, people about to retire 50,000, that sounds like a lot, but it is not. If you retire at 65 and live to 85, that is 20 years. 185,000 divided by 20 years is 9,250 per year, less than 800 per month. That is below the poverty line. And that is the median, meaning half of people have less, many have nothing. About 40% of Americans have zero retirement savings. They will rely entirely on Social Security, which, as I explained, is being cut. For these people, retirement is not an option. They will work until they cannot, and then they will live in poverty. Why do Americans have no savings? Wages have been stagnant for 40 years. Adjusted for inflation, median wages are roughly the same today as they were in 1980. But the cost of living, housing, healthcare, education have skyrocketed. In 1980, median home prices were about 3 times median income. Today, they are 6 times median income. Housing costs have doubled as a share of income. Healthcare costs have tripled. College tuition has increased tenfold. Workers are spending more on necessities and have nothing left to save. Younger generations are also burdened with student debt. The average student loan debt for a college graduate is over $30,000. Many have much more. This debt follows you for decades. You cannot save for retirement when you are paying $500 a month in student loans. And if you have children, childcare costs are catastrophic. Childcare can cost the $15,000 to $30,000 per year per child. That is more than college tuition in some states. So the third leg of the stool, personal savings, does not exist for most people. The three-legged stool has collapsed. Social Security is being cut. Pensions are not, savings are non-existent. What is left? Working until you die. And this is not hyperbole. The data shows it. The labor force participation rate for older workers is rising. The average retirement age is in 1990. The average retirement age was 62. In 2020, it was 65, and it is still rising. Many people are not retiring at all. They are working part-time or full-time in their 70s and 80s, and the jobs they are working are not high-paying jobs. Most older workers who return to the workforce or who delay retirement end up in low-wage service jobs. Retail, food service, security guards, greeters at Walmart, drivers for Uber or Lyft. These jobs pay minimum wage or close to it. They offer no benefits, no health insurance, no paid time off, no retirement contributions. Older workers are taking these jobs because they have no other options. And these jobs are physically demanding, standing for 8 hours, lifting boxes, driving for hours. This is hard on older bodies. Many older workers suffer injuries or health problems from these jobs, but they cannot quit because they need the income. Your grandmother shouldn't be a Walmart greeter, but the economy needs cheap labor more than it needs dignity. Let me explain why this is happening. Why is the retirement system collapsing? 3 reasons. 1, demographics. The population is aging. Baby boomers, the largest generation in history, are retiring. There are 75 million baby boomers. They are all over 60 now. Many are over 7. As they retire, the ratio of workers to retirees is collapsing. Social Security and Medicare are pay-as-you-go systems. They require a large base of workers to support retirees. When the ratio was 16 to 1, it was easy. When it is 2.3 to 1, it is impossible. The math does not work. And it is not just the US. Japan, Europe, China, all of these places have aging populations. Japan is the most extreme. Japan's population is shrinking. The median age is 49. Nearly 30% of Japan's population is over 65. Japan's retirement system is in crisis. Europe is not far behind. China's one-child policy created a demographic disaster. China will age before it gets rich. the working age population in China is already shrinking. By 2050, China will have 400 million people over 65 and only 700 million working age people. That is a 1.75 to 1 ratio. China's retirement system will collapse.